and welcome back, my amazing friends. I am on the road, driving back to Bozeman after a week of ceremony and integration, and I want to bring you a message from where I'm at right now. I haven't posted many videos in the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot going on, and I'm going to be getting back to a level of consistency with that. But there's a few things coming through that I really want to share. My intention for this video is to be a call forward for all of those who are watching this. A call forward because this time where we find ourselves is a very important chunk of time and space. This time that we find ourselves in is actually very crucial. And for all of those who are on this path, who would find themselves in this channel, who would watch this type of content, who would resonate with this, there's something in you, and you know it, that's really calling you forward and asking you to step all the way in. Now, it has taken me years to get to a point where I feel like I can allow myself to step all the way in. But the thing is, this particular moment, there's energy that supports that was never here before. And this pocket of the next couple of years is especially crucial for the direction that we take things for humanity. And of course, everything starts within us. So we get to take it upon ourselves to that level of responsibility of as within, so without, to the level that I dive into myself and integrate my shadows and recognize the power, that God source energy flowing within me, that is going to be what will then be reflected on the outside. So this is a call forward, an act of bold courage, because it takes a level of courage to hold the imagination, the dream, heaven on earth. When you look to the outside world and you just see chaos, and you just see suffering, and you see all these things that are shifting, and it seems like things are getting worse. And I come to you with a beautiful gnosis that outer appearance is not as it seems. That outer appearance is going away. And what will come through is a new reflection that is created by those who are doing the inner work, by those who are creating enough space where they can actually connect to that God substance, that God source energy radiating inside of you, because that's where all of your power comes from. You can't stay, you can, it's just going to really suck. If you stay in the third dimensional game of, where you are the small self and that's it, and you're not connected to that far greater power within you, then you can't anchor heaven on earth. You can't realize your dreams and desires that life wants to create through you. If you're holding fear and you're holding those dense lower vibrational emotions and you're cycling through them all day, you are only contributing to a timeline that is based in an old reality and in that third dimensional game. Now, here's the thing. The outer appearance, because of everything that's happening so quickly right now, those who want to try to control the timelines and the narratives are doing their best to feed into the collective energies fear, lack, limitation, separation, right? We're going to see this probably now more than ever, except through that we'll be able to see it through new eyes, right? New eyes of truth, new eyes of wisdom, that with enough people doing that and holding that frequency, we're going to shift things very quickly. And you are a big part of this, whether you want to realize that or not. The impact of you taking in this message and then integrating and doing something with it and committing to, I'm going to be an anchor for heaven on earth. I'm someone who's holding the energy of the new earth and what it will look like, where people are living in a fifth dimensional sense of releasing the fear, the doubt, the worry, the confusion, releasing the limitation, releasing the need for permission from somewhere on the outside, validation somewhere on the outside, to release all of that and recognize it's you with you, and to be a champion of that, to be a warrior of the light in that way, is such a massive contribution. Right? Your authenticity, the way that source energy flows through you, and only the way that it can through your exact channel, is a big deal. A lot can happen if you allow that. Miracles, synchronicities, connections, things that you never dreamed possible, because now you're in the quantum. You're in all possibility instead of your, little boxed in perceptual world that most of us have been conditioned and trapped in for a long time. So this is, to me, what feels like the most beautiful time maybe ever, because we're making this transition, and all of us are finding one another to get the inspiration, to get the empowerment, to help guide us through the process of coming out of the shadows and coming out of the illusion and the dream, the nightmare, really, that was third dimensional reality, which of course we needed as part of our evolution, as part of our progression. But I'm here to tell you, if you're holding worry, if you've got fears coming up around survival and scarcity and what's happening in our world, like, feel the gnosis in the energy that's coming forth. It's like, hey, this is all part of it. We're going to the next level. We're jumping up here, and that will always bring up survival paradigms that are needing to be cleared out of our nervous system, out of our DNA. Because I can tell you, survival, as I've said on this channel before, was such a huge teacher for me over these years. And to clear that out of my nervous system, to purge it, to release it, and to say, no, this is who I am. This is what I'm holding my focus on. This is what I'm paying attention to, by virtue of creating space to connect to that God source energy within me, which then, when I do that, all things become possible. And I've heard other people say that for many, many years, but because it was a concept, I couldn't really do much with it, and I would just kind of go back into my same bullshit. But when you create that space and your intuition comes on board, and that subtle inner voice can start to communicate with you, there's that relationship that builds between your small self and your higher self, your monad, your true nature. Those two coming together is really what's going on, and that's where the power is at right now. And it's the most magical, the most empowering, beautiful, holy shit type of energy that you could ever even fathom. And we're just getting started. This is all building and growing, and we're just kind of at the beginning phases of these activations. And this, again, it takes the pioneer. That's why I use the term pioneer, right? You are a pioneer. You're a trailblazer in a world that is lost in so many ways, a world that is disconnected from nature, from God, from one another. It takes the pioneer to blaze a trail forward authentically and say, hey, guys, all of us, we are waking up. We're going in a new direction. We're going into the unknown, which is actually very exciting, because that's where all possibilities exist, and that's where your deepest dreams and desires exist. But the brain, the predictor and the protector, looks at the unknown and says, we're gonna die. We can't do that, right? So that's our biology, but you are not your biology. The biology is your rental car that you are meant to have mastery over. Your body is listening to you. It's getting instructions from you and that inner narrative, which is why the inner narrative is so important to get a hold of and not just let it run around willy-nilly. I'll keep saying in all of my videos, you got to be the good shepherd. You got to tend to your flock, which is your thoughts, which is your mind, and where it's going and what you're paying attention to. And for you to redirect that attention to new places, right? Exploring new possibilities. Because your old frequency, your old reality, is, as we know, it's creating a lot of suffering because it's the only way you're gonna let go of it, right? It's like, how many times do we have to bang our head against the wall to be like, oh, I don't have to bang my head on the wall anymore. I can just actually stop doing that and, put some ice on it and I can go make a smoothie and sit on the couch and relax instead of doing that to myself. Or I can take that energy that I'm using to bang my head off the wall and go create something cool. Go create something that is making the world a better place, or that allows me to express who I am. So we're learning to manage our energy. We are energetic beings. Our consciousness is our garden that we are now able to start pulling the weeds out and growing the things that we want to grow. Love, beauty, empowerment, capability, command. Ooh, that's a big one, command, because we're learning to be the commanders. Your energy that God has given all of us, that universal energy inside of us, it moves through command. It doesn't move through like half-ass, like, which I've said before with prayers, right? Like, please God help me to have more money and find my purpose and get a good job and, I just, let me catch a break. That nothing moves from that place. Trust me, I know that very well. But when you command and you have conviction, which is why the Bible always talks about it and says it 1,000,000 times. That's why Jesus said it, Yeshua. Conviction, command, know who you are. If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could move mountains, meaning if you just knew who you were, you would realize you have command of all the forces of the universe. It's inside of you. That is the fractal of God living inside of you. Very different human experiences when you are living from the knowing of that, or if you're staying in the small self game. Or, if you did like what I did and you just kept that as a concept and you didn't actually integrate it and practice it and feel it in your body, right? I want you to think of a time right now where you had that conviction, where you just had that knowingness of like a powerful choice. I'm going this way and it can be no other way. And then very big things happened for you. All of us have experienced that at some level. Whether it was, I'm done with this thing, never again, and you made that agreement with yourself, which a lot of us did as children for emotional stuff, which is why it's so hard to release that now. But a new agreement from a chosen conscious place of, I'm done with this and here's where I'm going. Here's what I'm creating. There's nothing that can stop me because I have the power of the universe on my side that flows where I command it to go. And some people that are more people pleasers might be like, well, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to upset anyone. It's like, you're a pioneer. You're trailblazing the edge of consciousness. You're going to upset people who are holding on to old paradigms, who are playing the third dimensional game. And that's great, because then you're either going to call them forward or they're going to fall out of your reality altogether. That's how it goes. You're going to lose people. You're gonna trigger people, and that's amazing. The people who trigger me are the ones who allow themselves to express in a way that I'm not allowing myself, right? They're saying yes to their greatness where I haven't said yes to my own. And when you explore that, it's like all the envy goes away and you're like, oh shit, I have that too. And because I'm denying it of myself, it feels this way in my body. And I'm projecting something where I believe this person has something that I don't, which is total illusion, right? So get excited when you have someone, even if you're watching this video and you're like, I couldn't start a channel and say these things that Sean's saying. Yeah, you could. And actually, I encourage you to share your voice more than anything. Because as I said at the beginning, you with that channel opened where life can pour through you and express through you and be of greater service to the planet, and you're a vessel and an instrument for that, that's when you become more powerful than you could ever dream of, and massive impact can come through you in ways that you never would have known. So that's the invitation here. Bold, courageous act to hold the frequency of heaven on earth, to hold the 5D paradigm of ease, of grace, of trust, of knowingness, of conviction, command. You know who you are. You know where you're going. Beauty all around you. Everybody waking up, one human family coming together, releasing and purging everything that's not serving us anymore, everything that's rooted in separation, gone, goodbye. Doing that within your own garden first so that the greater garden can hold that. That is a pioneer. That is who you are. Those who would find themselves here. So much more that I am so excited to share, but I'll keep it shorter because I'm on the road and this is a really good time for meditation and contemplation. So I'm going to do that, but I had to talk to you guys. I had to get this out there and let you know that I'm here. And it's a big time. It really is. And you know it. Last thing I'll say is, one of my shadows in the gene keys is a shadow of half-heartedness. Never allowing yourself to fully go all in, to fully commit to something. And doing things from that place of half-heartedness. And when you do that, you get half the results. You're not in that conviction energy. You're not in the energy that can move mountains. You're not in that place that miracles occur and synchronicities just flow in and opportunities flow in and your service and impact just exponentially increase. You can't get that ever from half-heartedness. When you're dipping your toe in and then pulling out like, I don't know about that. You got to dive all the way in. Even if you're doing mundane things where you want to go up and start daydreaming and disconnect, like when you're sweeping the floor at your house, when you're cleaning your house, bring the light of devotion. Let yourself be fully present with everything that you're doing. And that is true integration. That's the practice and the embodiment piece of the things that I'm sharing, where you're fully paying attention to what's going on in that moment, so you can bring and build that same energy, strengthen it to the things that you're creating and the way that you're inspiring people around you. Because your sphere of influence is uniquely tied to your authenticity, and you have an impact that only you can have on the people around you that God has put around you. So let's get curious about what that can look like. Like, if I open myself up to that, if I go into the full expression of devotion and step out of half-hearted bullshit energy where I'm like, roller coaster riding up and down between 3D and 5D, let's put a stop to that. Let's keep our attention and focus and awareness on what we're building, what we're creating, what we're excited about, what we're moving towards, and hold that the best we can in our attention field so that it can grow, so that it can build, so that it can expand, and so that we teach ourselves that this is the new way. This is how you really rewire and reprogram your mind. You got to know who you are. And so I've had a very long journey with this, and that's why I do what I do. That's why my life has steered me towards working with people to help activate this within them, to help keep that attentional system in the right places, to help anchor in these opportunities, these golden opportunities that are in front of us right now. And when you do that, you're going to have quantum leaps, and that's what the work that I do with people is all about. So if you need that support and you're feeling it, I have everything in the links below, and you'll know, you'll feel it. And my invitation is to not ignore it. Trust it. I've had a few activation sessions with some of you where it was your first time doing that kind of thing, and it was scary, and you had resistance come up, but there was a part of you that knew that you needed to do it. And for some of us, we haven't invested, we haven't paid for these kinds of things before, which is an investment in you that will always come back. It pays dividends. It's exponential. The amount that you invest in yourself comes back to times 10 or more, because that's you in your worth. You're saying, I'm worth this. I've had to go through a long journey with that, so I'm finally figuring out how that game works when it comes to abundance, prosperity, self-worth, how it's all tied together. And it's been one of the huge pieces of my journey, and it feels very good to land in that place of knowingness of this is how the game works. every time I level up and I invest in new levels of myself, whether that's with retreat experiences, coaching, group programs, whatever it is that's calling me forward, I always triple, quadruple my income. And this is how we purge lack and scarcity. And I didn't even mean for this piece to come through. It's just here. And there's so much more to share on that. I'm going to go hard on this because it's a big deal. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to anything that I'm sharing. And I will see you again very soon. Peace within is peace without.